Welcome to the Trade Secrets podcast, the #1 podcast in construction, with your hosts Joseph Valente and me, Paul Selman. Get motivated, get inspired, and get educated. If you like what you hear, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Stop till we're legends.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Trade Secrets podcast. Today I'm joined by a very, very special guest. This is Kieran from KMM Energy Solutions. Now Kieran's been with us on the academy for about 4 or 5 months now?
Yeah, 3. We've done 3. I've done 3 sessions. Steve's done 2 now.
Of course, yeah, brilliant. Okay, so just tell us a little bit about yourself and where were you in business? What have you done, job history in the past?
So I've been in this business for 6 months, so it's relatively new, but I've been a surveyor or salesman for 5 years in the solar industry.
Yep.
Before that, I've always been in sales, direct sales, run small scale businesses as well. Sales teams, essentially like national sales managers. So it's all been primarily sales based.
Yeah.
And I think now obviously we're taking the plunge to set up our own teams.
Your own business.
Yeah, so we're working for ourselves rather than other people.
Fair enough. Yeah, because I mean, most of our clients, obviously, they come from a trades-based background, hence the name Trade Mastermind.
Yeah.
And we're trying to build up these businesses from electrical businesses into, renewables businesses and trying to take the tradesman into a businessman. Now, you said that you've had a sales-based role. Was that for you said as an employed role with other companies, or
always commission only? So I've never had a salary-based job.
wow,
in my
you've
whole
always
life.
been winging, you've always been trying, yeah.
Well, I enjoy it. Yeah, I like waking up and not knowing what's going to go. I think not having that structure allows me to have 3-4 months off a year. Holidays. You can pick up and leave a job whenever you want. Yeah. And I think especially in my 20s, that was the draw card for travel and freedom. But as we get a bit older now, we want to get a bit more serious.
Yeah, I know
that holiday goes down.
Yeah, I know that feeling definitely. But so from a sales point of view, then, so if somebody understands sales like yourself, and you understand revenue and you understand figures, what has now drawn you into the renewables industry? What sort of opportunities are you seeing in the renewables industry that's made it attractive for you?
I think basically I'm born off grid in Australia. So my mum's a real eco warrior.
Right.
So she's a horticulturist, built her own rainforest on 10 acres of land. Wow. So we had no mains power, no mains sewage, no mains water. Okay. So I think from growing up in that, life's gone in a bit of a weird circle. Yeah. I didn't necessarily imagine I was going to do that. But when I got out of my last profession, I wanted to go into something that I knew was going to be a career, that I knew would have a bit of longevity into it. Okay. And I think renewables, even 5 years ago, was pretty obvious that the world was going that way. Mm-hmm. So that's what sort of led me into it. I mean, to be honest, I literally typed in Google, highest paying sales job near me. Really? And I clicked on a link.
And it came up with renewables?
Well, no, I just came up with a contact form to fill in. Yeah. And so I filled it in and I met up with the area manager of the old company. Yeah. And then took the job a week later.
Fantastic. Okay. And so do you see this as a growth industry then? This obviously, if you're coming into it now at this point, because you said it's quite a baby business really, been about 6 months.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've been doing the same thing that we're doing now in terms of the physical, model in selling. But now we've got a joint venture with an install partner, and we've got an investor on board that wants us to do schools, churches, and Ministry of Defence buildings. Right, so we're trying to niche off into that area because I think there's a lot of competition in the domestic market, and there's probably less competition in the commercial market. Yeah. And I think there's probably been a slightly slower uptake in the commercial side than the domestic. I might be wrong on that. Yeah. But we need the domestic side to fund the cash flow of the commercial business. That's what we realised. So we've had to strip it back. Yeah. We've got all these leads in that sector, which is great, but the cash flow isn't great. So that's why we've gone back to domestic. Well, that's what we know.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is one of the things that we always come up against in most traders businesses anyway, because the commercial stuff seems more reliable. And it seems because there's longer time spans on the jobs, they're bigger jobs, but obviously you always play and catch up on that cash flow game. This is why we always try and flip the switch to the domestic model, because as you've just explained, trying to keep that cash flow positive position is very important in business. So part of business skills especially are going to be sales and marketing. You seem like you've come to that with that point already locked down. You've done this. So why did you apply to the academy? What was it you were looking to actually get from the academy when you came on board with us?
I think when I came to, I was looking. I knew I had to get some education to get to the next level, because when we were getting into the room with certain people, we've gone sort of big fish, little pond. From our job, we were really good at sales. We were near the top.
Yeah.
And then when we come into the business world, as you can tell from seeing me and Steve, the spreadsheet side of things, the conversation, the terms, the acronyms.
Yeah.
We didn't know what we were talking about when we were having meetings.
Yeah.
With people that wanted to invest in the business. They could see the skill set that we have, but I think to vet the people that we were working with, to understand it, we knew we needed that next level. And Joseph, it was probably when we came to that discovery day.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? It humbled me to realise how little I actually knew.
Yeah.
I guess it scared me enough, in a good way, to action, finding out about how to be a better businessman.
Well,
I think is probably the key reason.
And it's fair enough to say. I mean, I was in exactly the same position. I was, people know my story. I was Paul the plumber when I walked through the door here. I knew how to fit a boiler. I knew the technicals, but I didn't know how to actually go about making it a profitable enterprise and a profitable.
We're like the other way around, aren't we?
Yeah, exactly.
We know how to sell it, but we don't install it. So we still don't install it. But I think, to understand, like you said, how it all works, it's obviously if we're going to train people and grow a business. Yeah,
you need to know that back end. And so you've seen an opportunity in the market. You've seen that in the solar industry, you're going to make a hell of a lot of money and there's decent profit margins. Like I said, from what we've seen on the Academy members, 45, 50% gross profit margins, which is extraordinary in the construction industry to see those margins. And now you're implementing the back end systems. Now you guys, I know from obviously previous chats, are already starting to build this infrastructure. So this is all developing quite quickly for you guys. So what have you implemented since joining the academy, and what's the next sort of steps? What are you getting involved with at the moment? How's your company growing?
So I think what we've done is we have had a little bit of a pause, to be honest, because we got a bit distracted with which way we were going to go.
Yeah.
So we went to go into the commercial side. So I think KMM is going to stay as the domestic arm.
Good.
And we've got another company that's going to stay with the with the commercial arm. And I think we need to build up this side before we can go into that. And so we've built up loads of surveyors that are ready to go. We've got a bit of a backroom team now that's going to qualify the leads. We've also got a lead generation company that we're setting up.
Yeah.
So that I'll probably say the main obstacle we found when we worked for another company as a subcontractor, just in sales, is 50% of our time is wasted by terrible leads.
Yeah.
So if we have control of the lead and the acquisition and can make a business selling the excess on that, it's going to be another revenue stream because everyone wants better leads.
Of course it is.
It's undeniable. And I think there's a lot of saturation in the market.
Yep.
And the price seems to have, doubled as a rough rule of thumb over the last year for those leads as more people enter the market.
And then you look to work with other sort of mastermind and academy members to then come up with sales as well.
Yeah, we want to have teams out. Our goal in the next year is to have 20 teams out per week, generating leads across the country.
20 a week?
Yeah, 20 teams a week.
Nationwide?
Nationwide. Yeah.
Wow, you're dreaming big.
Yeah.
I like it though.
Yeah,
well, we say dreaming big, but you've also planned this stuff out, haven't you?
Well, I've done it before.
Yeah.
Like the way the events that we're going to do, I worked in for 8 to 10 years before.
Yeah.
And I sold a product that was pretty niche as paintball tickets.
Right.
So I used to sell paintball tickets for 8 to 10 years in universities, Tesco, and it's 70 quid a pop. I got paid £73 a set. It sounds crazy.
Yeah.
I got
that's
five.
a mod.
I got £5 override on the sale because I was a manager.
Yeah,
so normally you get 68 if you're at the top level, and they make the money on the paintballs on the day.
Okay,
so it might seem like a roundabout way to answer the question, but if I can stand in those events and sell a product that's niche, and get the money in the day in that event,
70 quid ticket
on a 70 quid ticket, now I'm just trying to book in free surveys for in the energy crisis. I think it should be far easier.
And with the average ticket price at 10, 15 grand a pop for a proper solar job these days, this is where that 40 to 50% margin really makes a difference, especially if you compare it to other areas like house rewire or, I don't know, fixing a light switch. You don't
less volume.
Around. Yeah, you don't need as much volume. You don't need as much infrastructure to still provide that sort of 7-figure, 8-figure even business.
Yeah.
Which is for me at least, and for the other academy members I work with, is the most exciting thing. I mean, we worked on one of the academy sessions where we built the business backwards. And we said, what net profit is it that you want to actually gauge? And then we just build it back by design. And it just tells you how many leads you need to sit, how many leads you need to buy, how many surveys you need to sit. And it takes that guesswork out, I guess, because business.
The clarity. That's what we're getting. We're getting a bit of clarity because me and Steve in particular, we meet up and we have meetings about the meetings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we get so excited.
Yeah.
We go here, and at the end of the day, we're like, right, what have we actually achieved?
Yeah.
We've just fantasized for a whole day, and we're millionaires.
You
and,
need a managing director to rein you back in, don't you?
Yeah, and
that's chairman.
That's what we've got. Like compared to most of the people on the course, we're not going to get that 45% margin because we've got a model where we halve the profits with the install company.
Yeah, okay.
So yes, it might seem like less money. So we're doing half the work.
Yeah.
So we're not going to have anything to do with the the contract side of the registry, the documents, the actual physical installation.
Yeah.
So it allows us having time to have that two-pronged approach between the sales and the actual lead generation.
Yeah.
And allows them to focus obviously on that side. So it builds up both businesses.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.
I mean, you said that you and Steve obviously get excited about this sort of stuff when you talk about it. That's what business should be about. It should be about getting excited about the future.
Most of the time.
Yeah,
we get stressed as well.
Well, of course, there's ups and downs, If business was easy, everybody would run a business, but the reward that you get from running a business, especially like this in the construction industry, is born out of the fact that it's hard work, but it doesn't have to be that hard. You just need to know the secrets to actually make it seem a bit easier. So what do the next sort of 6 months hold for you then? You've got a goal. We always talk on this on the Academy about having a goal and planning it and not just making it a dream and a vision. You need this crystallized. So where do you want to be at the end of the Academy?
I think at the end of the academy or in the next 6 months? Because we've got a bit,
Yeah, do the end of the academy and then do the next 5 years. I want to know what your dreams are.
Well, just for the end of this year, we want to nail the lead generation side and solidify the cash flow for the amount of surveyors and the teams that we have. If we can get that running, then we know that January, February, March, April is the boom time in the industry. So we want to then aggressively expand at that point to get further surveys, further teams out. So the next 3 months, I guess, there's a lot of data collection and going back to basics, less away from the commercial, more on the domestic, to give that foundation of the business so that we can then grow in the commercial. Because the way we want to exit the business is in 5 to 10 years.
Okay.
Obviously, 5 is great. 10 would be great as well. But I think we're realising everything takes a little bit longer.
So you've got that exit plan already in the mind as well?
Yeah, we want to get those big contracts on the schools, the churches, the Ministry of Defence buildings, which our contact is already getting us into.
Cool.
And we know that if we can secure them, those are long-term contracts that would take us years to get through. So if we can sell halfway roughly through those contracts when we've got that track record and proof of what we've done, we're able to market it and become more of a household name. Because there's not really a household name in solar. There's not.
This is what I mean. This is why obviously I came from the boiler industry, but the profit margins aside, just the fact that this is a new industry with so much growth potential should get most people who are entering the industry now excited about this opportunity. And I mean, for you guys, you've proved it. I mean, you've worked hard. You're two talented guys, but to go from having a sales background, yes, you've got to play with the skills that you actually got in your back pocket already. For most people, it's in being able to install and know the technical stuff. For you guys, it was sales, but you've still gone from setting a company up to now within 3 to 4 months hiring a team of you've got 2 surveyors now with another 9 on standby. And now you're looking to take the business national. That's some growth. You should be proud of that.
Yeah.
And I always say this to other business owners that you got to really celebrate the what's the word I'm looking for? You've got to start celebrating the successes in your business as well, the things that you've already achieved. This is why we start every academy session with successes.
It is great. I think being in the same room with other people, you can feel a bit isolated as a business owner.
Of course you can.
Because you wake up on a Monday morning, for example, you've maybe forgotten about, you've had a bit of a weekend. I play football, watch a bit of football. Then you get on your desk, you're like, bloody hell, it's happening again, I've got all this. And you see it as problems rather than opportunities for success. And I think myself personally, it's a bit of a roller coaster. I don't think I've ever been so up and down in terms of emotion. When I was just selling, it was handed to me on a platter. And I had a very manageable expectations and roles for the week. It was pretty much the same. So,
but this is what we try to do here. We try to build a community that are going to support each other through, and you get that. Even it's quite a nice feeling when I see the communicating and sharing tips and stuff like that. So I really enjoy that as part of being, my head coach role. Is that seeing you guys develop together and going forward is it's a really great thing for me.
Well, in the same way in our business, we've had it where there was no training, there was no culture, there was no meetups, and that's what we want to create in our business, which I guess is synergised as well with what you're doing, because you probably know when you started, you didn't have any support network or
I was on
the
my own for the
education.
first time,
Yeah.
and like I said, you're allowed to go on company's house to set up a company for about 15 quid with no training whatsoever. It's criminal, really.
Yeah.
They wouldn't let me fit a boiler with no training.
Probably just to answer one of the other questions about what we're trying to achieve is to fast track it. That's what I was trying to think of. We know we're going to get there, but we don't want to get there in 20 years.
No.
You know what I mean? Because there's not that much time, I think, in the industry to establish yourselves. So I guess that's probably our main motivation, is to educate and fast track our progression.
You want that knowledge quickly, sustainably,
And be able to implement it.
Yeah. And like I said, this is why I enjoy being the accountability partner in a way, because I like to make sure that people are on track. And this is why I kind of give people a bit of a hard time sometimes and ask you about your metrics and what you're doing and what you're not doing. Because I think if you're not being held accountable, me personally, I always go backwards. It's just a human nature.
We've done it with the spreadsheet side of things, as you can tell. Like, you know, I got really excited about it, looked at it, had a few things I couldn't figure out on it.
Yeah.
Then the whole thing, you know, messed up.
Back to something
and guess what?
comfortable.
Yeah.
That's it.
We haven't touched it since, and that's what I mean, Steve, we come back to, because we've got other people running that side of things, and then they're asking us questions, and it's embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah, you need to know. You need to be in charge of that ship, really. So, well, that's great. I mean, it's great to see that you're doing wonderful things. I'm really excited for you guys for the future as well. So how do people get in touch with you as well? For your business?
We've got a website up and running, kmmenergysolutions.co.uk. You can book a survey on there, or just have a little look about what we're about. It is changing slightly, obviously, with going back to more domestic rather than the commercial side of things. So we're just focusing on solar, batteries, and EV chargers at the moment. But air source heat pumps and other heating solutions will come in as well.
That's great. Well, look, thank you for being a guest on the Trade Secrets podcast, Kieran. It's been really enjoyable having you on. If you've enjoyed that episode at home as well, then feel free to click the link below and subscribe for future episodes.
Thank you for listening to the Trade Mastermind Trade Secrets podcast. If you want to find out how Trade Mastermind can help you further, head to our website trademastermind.co.uk and don't forget to like and subscribe.